Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Over the last few months, I have been thrifting with plans to upcycle and upgrade some items like lampshades, a picture frame, and vintage fabric. So I'm gonna show you those easy DIY thrift flips, and then we're gonna do a little decorating as we transition from late summer to early fall. If you're new here, hi, my name is Megan, and if you like thrifting, interior design, DIY, and living your best life on a budget, hit subscribe. We are starting with the fabric I thrifted from a trip to the auction house tag sale. We're gonna take a bag of remnants and turn it into this. I have all this fabric from that tag sale I went to. This is one of the block prints, but I don't have too much fabric for this one. It's limited. This is like a pillowcase maybe. So I'm going to set this over here. Then I have this one, which I really like, but again, this is as much as we've got. It's, you know, like 3 feet by 4 feet, maybe 5 feet. And then it's a little damaged here. So I don't know what was going on with this, what they did with this, what this person was planning to do with this, or what they did do with some of it, because it's really remnants of something that they were working on. So I can't really tell. But look how pretty this is. So it's got, that's the fabric from that other piece that I have over there, and then, or it's the print rather of that other piece of fabric, and then we've got like some olive leaves and olives, some maybe grapes. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Grape leaves, acorns. Now this one, we have a lot more. This is the one we have the most, the print we have the most fabric of. But it's all in wonky shapes. I figured out that I had enough wonky shaped fabric to do a few projects, but I couldn't decide which to start with, so I asked my friends on the Megan the Wild Instagram. I asked if I should do the headboard, a lampshade for the marble lamp, lampshades for my sconces, or a new cover for my ottoman. They voted for the marble lamp and the headboard, so that's what I did. Here are some of the inspiration photos for the lampshades. These are pleated and gathered lampshades. I'll be doing one of each. Note, I will be doing 4 transformations in total, 2 of which take very little skill and very little time. So if these first 2 are too intimidating, I have much easier ones to show you. Also, if I can make a pleated lampshade or a gathered lampshade, so can you. In regard to the images I showed on my Instagram, I mocked up what the lampshades could look like so that it would make it easier to imagine what the finished products would look like. I do this often. When I was buying my bedroom chandelier off of Facebook Marketplace, I created a cardboard replica to hang from the ceiling. I think Ed thought I was crazy, but I wanted to get an idea for how the light fixture would fit in the space. Step 1 for making my pleated lampshade. Find a good podcast, TV show, or movie because you're going to be here a while. I watched several episodes of The Americans while completing this lampshade. Step 2, I ironed all of the fabric that I would be using to make the shade. Step 3, I measured how much length I would need to cover the shade from the top to the bottom and cut pieces accordingly. Step 4, once I had cut the fabric to the correct length to cover the lampshade, I cut those pieces into strips about 2.5 inches wide. Step 5, I folded the strips in on themselves and ironed them until they had a crisp edge. These strips will be our pleats, and I want them to lay as flat as possible with no wrinkles. While this is a DIY handmade project, I want the lampshade to look professionally made, so ironing the strips is essential. Note, I made about 20 strips at a time, so I repeated steps 2 through 5 about 3 or 4 times in order to have enough pleats to go around the entire lampshade. Step 6. I prepped the thrifted lampshade for its new outfit by removing the gathered pleating. If you're working with a vintage shade like me, be careful not to crack the shade during this step. After you remove the old lampshade covering, you're ready for step 7, glue gun time. I started gluing the strips to the lampshade, beginning at the back of the lampshade at the seam. Since I was working with a repeating pattern, I tried to vary how I laid down each strip so that I didn't accidentally make a diagonal pattern with the print. I dotted a little bit of glue on the top of the shade, then I placed the strip on it, pressing down to adhere the strip. I did the same thing on the bottom of the shade so that each strip was attached at the top and the bottom of the shade. When I moved on to my next strip, I glued it down in the middle of the first strip. If you place your strips closer together, you'll have tighter pleats and need more strips. I repeated this process dozens of times until the strips covered the entire lampshade. Just in case you can't tell, I glued the strips down with the folded part facing the back of the lampshade. I also trimmed off any extra fabric if some strips were a little long and hung over the edge of the shade. I had given myself a little extra length on purpose because I find that it is better to have too much fabric than not enough. Step 8, adding trim to the top and the bottom of the lampshade to conceal the raw edge of the fabric. All right, I am almost done with the lamp. Here's how she's looking. I want to put a piece on the top and the bottom. I don't know what this piece is called, to cover the lip. So do I go with the pattern I'm already using? So it would look like that. Or option 2, do I put the velvet ribbon back on the bottom and it would wrap around? Or option 3, this fabric has a little bit of blue on it. This print does. Wrap this blue part on the bottom. Come on. So that it just goes around like that on the bottom. I don't know. I think I'm going to put it on Instagram. And the winner is option 3, the blue border from one of the other thrifted remnants. So I went about cutting the trim so that I could glue it to the pleats on the top and the bottom of the front side of the lampshade. I made sure to leave enough fabric to fold over the rim of the shade and attach to the inside. Keep in mind that depending on where your lamp lives in your home, you may be able to see the inside of the lampshade, so whatever you do to it will be seen. This is not a big issue for me with this lampshade, but it will be a little problem with one of the other lampshades. I made sure to conceal the raw edge of the fabric with a fold where the two ends meet at the back of the lamp, and then I was done. Thrift flip number 2, taking the fabric remnants from a project for Ed's bathroom and using them to make a gathered lampshade for the baby marble lamp in my kitchen. I had previously upcycled this lampshade, and I'll show you what I did later in this video. But now, here is past me talking about the second DIY on this little lampshade. So I have the little lampshade. I removed the velvet that was on here before. I'm actually going to take this off as well. So then after I remove that piece, I'm going to glue this like that and start gathering the pleats just kind of like that, being mindful of the bottom as it is wider than the top, so may have more pleats gathered at the top than at the bottom. Starting at the seam at the back of the lampshade, I am attaching the end of the long piece of fabric. The fabric is long enough to wrap around the lampshade 2.5 to 3 times. I'm going to gather little folds of the fabric and glue them along the top of the lampshade, keeping them pretty close together. The top is smaller than the bottom, so if the fabric isn't gathered tightly at the top of the lampshade, there will be nothing to gather at the bottom. I'm kind of playing with this right now where I'm laying I'm gathering the fabric here a little tighter and I'm leaving it loose at the bottom for now. I want to see if it'll be easier if I just keep gathering them at the top, and then once I've got those together to a certain degree, then I'll gather them and glue them at the bottom. All right, after gluing for a little while, I do think I am just gonna do the top and then go back and do the bottom and cut this extra fabric off. Looks kind of like a little skirt. I'm leaving this raw hem here. I'm using it to just stay consistent. So I'm just keeping it in line here. And at the end, I will cover this with something. I'm not sure if I'm gonna use this fabric to cover it or if I'm gonna find a ribbon or something. And then I'll clean this up at the bottom too, do the same thing. All right, let's keep going. So I've done these gathered pleats all around the top, and now I'm going to start gluing the bottom down. So this is the one from before that I started with, and now I'm just going to kind of gather them, cluster them a little bit at the bottom. We'll see how that goes. Since the folds at the top of the lampshade were tight, I had enough fabric at the bottom to gather and glue. If I do this project again, I would gather more fabric rather than fold it because I like that look better. I was still able to get that look by scrunching the fabric after it was glued, but next time I would gather and scrunch the fabric as I glued it to the lampshade. I'm at the end. I'm just going to lift up the piece that I first laid down, and then I'm going to stick this underneath so that you can't see that it's in fact the first pleat and the last pleat matching, or meeting, I guess I should say. Good morning. I did some work last night. I finished the top. Yeah, I think I like it. So I'm just gonna do the bottom. I'm gonna show you guys what I did with the top while I do the bottom, since it got so dark last night. I'm gonna start at the seam in the back, and I'm gonna put glue here on just the edge, and then I'm gonna lay this fabric that will be the trim piece. I'm gonna lay it down here. I'm gonna go all the way around, and then I'll flip it like that, and then I'll glue the inside and probably trim some of the excess fabric off. This worked before, it was pretty easy, so I'm just gonna do it again. So I finished going all the way around, and it's time to flip the fabric in on itself. I folded it over so that you wouldn't see a raw edge on the outside of the lampshade. I'm gonna seal that up a little more. Okay. All right, now I'm gonna flip it in. I'm gonna try to keep it all the same size, the trim the same size as I flip it over. Oh, see how easy, right? a little thicker than the top, but I don't mind. I can just pull it down a little. And then I'm gonna glue on the inside here, and I'll trim off any excess fabric. I'm going to clean her up a little bit. There's some excess glue and some little threads and things. I'm going to clean that up, and then I'll put her back together again. Cute. I thought I was done, but when I put the new lampshade on the baby lamp, I could see the underside of the lampshade, including the raw edge of the fabric used to trim the bottom, which made it seem unfinished. My creative solution was to put some ribbon over the edge, which added a pretty velvet detail to the inside of the shade. Maybe this will be my DIY trademark. Speaking of velvet trim, I used it to add a little something special to several other thrifted lampshades, including this urn-looking marble lamp. It might be alabaster, to be honest, I'm still not sure, but I know it needed something special for the shade, and I found this tan scalloped one at Goodwill. There was already a ribbon trim on it, but it had begun to unravel and disintegrate, so I removed it. I had a brown velvet ribbon that was a bit too thick for this project, so I cut it in half and lightly singed the edges to prevent fraying. I placed peel and stick fabric tape on the non-velvet side, removed the backing, and placed it on the lampshade, starting at the seam in the back. I carefully worked my way around until the velvet ribbon covered the rim of the lamp. I repeated this process on the top of the lampshade as well. I'm linking the peel and stick below because it's a good product for little sewing projects. However, if I did this project again, I would just use a glue gun to attach the ribbon. I did this same project with a little white lampshade I thrifted, and I put blue ribbon on the bottom of the white gathered lampshade that I repurposed earlier in this video. Here is how the first two turned out. I thrifted this still life painting at the Stormville flea market earlier this summer for $5, and I found this picture frame at an American thrift for $4. The still life is an unusual size, so it fits perfectly in the frame in height, but it's too small in width. However, the matting covers the gap. I'm not in love with the coppery color or the treatment on the frame, so I'm going to give it a little makeover. I still have some of Sherwin-Williams Tricorn Black left over from my Provincial Dresser makeover project, so I'm going to apply a few coats of that paint to this frame. I'm not 100% sure where this painting should live in my apartment. If I decide it should belong in my living room, I'm going to leave the frame black. But if I decide that it belongs in my kitchen, I may try an aged gold technique. I'm hoping painting it black will give me some clarity. After painting it black and living with it for a few days, I decided to hang it in the kitchen and to leave it black, for now. What do you think? Keep it black or go for gold? A few of you have asked me to do a DIY around making art more moody. I've been thinking about it, and I have a frame picked out, but I haven't settled on the art I want to work with yet. Speaking of moody vibes, stores have already kicked off the spooky season by stocking plenty of autumnal and Halloween decor, even though tomorrow it will be 90 degrees. While summer may be winding down, it's not quite cool enough in the city for me to go full fall, so we're going to tweak a few things around my apartment to transition ever so slightly from late summer to early fall. These are in the bathroom for summer, and I'm gonna swap these out for something. I just don't know what. We should do something up there too, something different there. These are some of the faux branches and greenery that I have. Definitely more fall vibes over here, less fall over here, but I'm gonna swap in a couple of these things and swap out some of the more summery flower looking things. Oh, you can see in the back here, these are all the things I listed on my Poshmark. All right, so let's start swapping out some of these summer things for fall things. I love hydrangeas, but I don't have a yard or the right environment in my apartment to grow them. But I love the clean, soft look of them. So I have fake ones in several rooms in my apartment. Since it's summer, I have two different types of hydrangeas. Both are white, but the ones from Magnolia have yellowed a little bit, while the Amazon ones are still a crisp white. I'm gonna bring in a pink purple color now that we are in early fall. I know I want to replace these ones, this painter's tape on the top of the bucket to keep the flowers in the right spot. See? You know what? A flower frog would actually fit in there. I usually find I've picked up so many of them. I remember when I never saw them, and then I started seeing them all the time. Like one day, I feel like that's all I found was those flower frogs. You know, I'll insert an image so that you know what I'm talking about, but the glass ones with the little holes in them. But usually they're so big. I'm like, what vase are you going to fit into? And I think the answer is this champagne bucket. So maybe I'll actually get one of those the next time I see it. Now, I don't know that is the vibe. She's a little short. So I'm gonna go get some paper to stick in the bottom so we can make her a little bit higher. So that they, stand a little taller. Okay, that's much better. And I like that you can remove the leaves. She says, there we go. Remove the leaves and then put them on another side of the flower so that they don't look the same, because then like they're definitely fake. I mean, I've never had anyone come into my apartment and say, oh, look at those beautiful real hydrangeas. I don't think that's ever happened, but still. All right, see, that looks like kind of like a real leaf. Do you see the nuances, the colors that they've added? I like that. If it's all the same, then it definitely looks fake. This is like, feels like full summer. This feels like fall summer. So now I'm playing around with this, which if you watched my thrifting video when we went to the White Elephant sale and we went to Pandemonium, I got this at Pandemonium, which I'm obsessed with this. Is this Italian? Is this French? I don't know, but I love it. But we are way past peony season, so I think I'm gonna take these out. But what goes in there instead? Oh, hello. Just let's see. Maybe. I think we need something in the bottom there. So I found these bubble wrap things that I had saved. My mom was probably the most influential person in that way, where she was always looking to upcycle something, recycle something. Do you remember? Do you remember when pizzas used to have those little thingies in them? I'll insert it if I can find it online, but They look like little like tables that they put in the middle of the pizza box because the pizza box would collapse on top of your pizza and like, you know, all the cheese would be on the top. They had these little plastic thingies. And my mom used to give them to us to use as chairs. Oh, I'm sorry. We'll wait for you, New York. She used to give them to us to use as chairs for our dolls. Like, that's the level of repurposing that she was about. Like, I remember being excited when pizza came and it had that little thing in the box. Because not everybody did it. Because they probably had better boxes than other places. I don't know. But I'd be like, yay, another stool for my toys. It's really weird thing. Did anyone else's parents or did anyone else do that? Just me and my sister, probably. This is for the bathroom. This might be nice. Maybe, oh, you know what? I think these are actually a floral. And I got them on sale, but I do think they still exist, so I will link them. They still exist on their website, so you can still buy them if you want to. I mean, they're really, here, do you want a closer look? So we've got like some kind of, I don't know what these are called. I will look it up and I will insert it if I can find this info, but it's like some kind of berry and then leaves. And I just thought they were like a pretty fall branch to have. Look at that kind of, she's cute. Look at that, she's cute. Okay, so she's done. I unalived this, this little plant. So, we are going to fake a plant with some like faux herbs or faux, I think I was looking for faux ferns when I found this. I like that it has variety in the greenery. So you can clearly see on camera that it's multiple colors, which makes it look real because real plants have variation in color. So let's do a little playing with this. These are amazing. I think I was following a gardener or something on YouTube, and she basically said like, this is the thing that you need to have if you have one tool for your garden and clipping things. This is the one you want, because this can cut through anything. Like literally, I've cut so much stuff with this. It cuts wire, it'll cut this plastic or whatever is inside of here. It should cut it with no problem. This was worth the investment. You see how that just snapped off, and it's plastic with wire on the inside. Like this stuff, it's amazing. Value is there for me because I cut a lot of stuff. I'm always trying to get Ed to pull over so that I can go like get hydrangeas from someone's front lawn. I have not done that yet. I know it's wrong, but like wildflowers and stuff, they don't belong to anyone. That was Coco, by the way, the shaking. Okay, so this little guy might be ready. What do you think? More is kind of better, isn't it? Look, more is better. Let's do more. Okay. Oh, don't get that, Coco. Leave it. Give me that. Okay. I think she's kind of fabulous. Okay, let's put her in the room. Hello, Coco. I'm gonna switch this plant out, this fake plant. I think that's also a floral. I don't remember what it's called. I'll put it in. Yeah, I'm gonna switch that out to the fern looking branches that I got. They're bendy, which I like, and then they have the variation in color. They're like well, they're definitely plastic, but they have like a feathery look to them, which I like. These are gonna be too tall, so let's cut some down. I love the look of a fern. Maidenhair ferns are my favorite. I love the feathery, bushy, soft texture of them. They give me forest vibes, and I really want to have more nature in my apartment in the middle of the concrete jungle that is New York City. Unfortunately, a maidenhaired fern is not well suited for my lifestyle or gardening abilities. I have probably spent over $100 buying them only to kill them about a week later. Sometimes you have to give up the ghost and go faux, which is why I bought these fake fern branches on Amazon. Okay. the other room, and then maybe I'll zhuzh them up a little bit in there. I forgot that I also have these tulips that I put in a planter. And usually I just pack this away when fall comes around, but I have those green branches, so maybe I'll stick them in there. I can also change those out. So it's the next day. It got too dark last night to film because I went to yoga. I'm just gonna swap out some candlesticks. You know, I thrifted all of these. You probably saw me thrift these. I remember one day, I think all I got were candles. This one was, saw that it said cinnamon. Luckily, it doesn't smell like cinnamon. That would have been, I don't know if I would have loved that. But I'm just going to plop a couple of these more fall looking candles, more, you know, fall colors. I thrifted these the other day. I think I might list them. I also think I might clean them up a little. But I do like when there's more patina, more, you know, tarnish. Oh yeah, this is the one that I got that I was obsessed with from Pandemonium. Look how pretty. Can you see the detail on that? It is a little broken, right? Can you see there? It's broken, but I don't care. It's cool. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that and plop those in. I have a bunch of pillowcases. I think I'm gonna switch. That's Coco playing with her chew toy. Hi, we're doing something. You're funny. Okay, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna swap some of them out, or swap the ones in the living room out for one of these. Oh my God. We just came back from a walk and she's happy. Okay. Next Saturday, I plan to drop my Pearson Ward video. We'll talk about their interior design style and how we can bring it into our homes, on a budget, of course. If you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe to see more content like this, as well as thrifting videos. If you are still with me, I want to say thank you and give you something extra for watching all the way through. So here is a little Coco content for you. Bye! How's it going? For this little DIY, I have decided I don't want the glass in here. I had kept the glass in here at first. Excuse me. Miss, we're trying to film. Okay, so Cokie, ah, noise? Oh my God, I forgot what I was gonna say.